Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome here if you are new. I'm Manganet and I do book related content and sometimes not. I feel like 3 years ago I had this intro. We are kicking off a very interesting vlog. I had this random idea a couple of days ago and there's not much explanation to it, so let's not over-explain what requires literally no explanation, because we all know I'm the queen of over-explaining. We are going to be reading, and by we I mean I am going to be reading books by authors that are called TJ, which is the name of my son. When I shared his name on my Instagram, lots of you asked me what does TJ stand for, and surprise, surprise, I'm not gonna tell you. You don't know my name, why would you know his, right? So TJ is what we call him anyway. We never call him by the actual name, we call by TJ. There's a name for T and a name for the J, but by all means, his name is TJ. It's what we call him, it's what everyone calls him. He's the TJ, he's TJ, the TJ. I'm here with the TJ to let you know that I'm going to attempt starting to read the first TJ author, which is TJ Newman, with the book Drowning. I read her other book, Falling, and I read it on a vlog that I did. There was like a chain of vlogs. There was Flight Attendant Reacts to multiple flight related things. At the end of each video you would have options to go to other videos, and one of those other videos at some point in the chain was a reading vlog to that book. So I am going to leave the direct link for that reading vlog down there in the description, but I'm also going to leave the link for the first one in the chain in case you want to follow along the whole chain. So I read another book from her. She's a former flight attendant. This is her second book, and just like the first one, it's based on things that happen on a plane. I think this one's about a ditching, so landing on water. I mean, I actually don't know. I'm just assuming because it's called Drowning and the plane is on the water. But two things, maybe more, that I want to say about this. When I read the first book, I thought it was really good in terms of plane things. I thought it was really accurate, and only after I finished I realized that she was a former flight attendant, so that made a lot of sense because she obviously has the inside info to be able to write a book based on things that are actually accurate to the aviation world. Obviously there were some that I didn't experience, but she was based in America, and regulations, just like any other job, change depending on where in the world you are. The second thing I want to say is that not only I love this cover, but also I love the first cover, but also I love how the covers match each other. Here it is. I'm gonna start reading Drowning. I don't have anything else to say at the moment. I'm gonna try give you an update either at 50 pages or at 100 if I find that nothing special is happening at 50 pages. But I just saw the end pages. I already love it. I already love it. It's the windows on the plane, but I don't know if you can see the detail. It's underwater. Scary. By the way, I think I should say this and open the video with this. Ditching is one of my worst fears. People ask me all the time if like I'm scared of flying or if turbulence bothers me or things like that as a flight attendant, and the answer in general is no. But the thing that has always scared me, and one of my biggest, I'm gonna use the word fears, but obviously it's not a fear because it's so rare in the grand spectrum of things, like how often does the plane land on water. I've always had this unrealistic fear of not only landing in water, but landing in the Atlantic Ocean, mostly because the big majority of my flying career was flying over the Atlantic Ocean between Europe and America. Landing on the Atlantic Ocean, which is obviously freezing, at night. That's my biggest fear. And so reading a book potentially about a ditching, it could be triggering. Anyway, this TJ is obviously complaining a lot, so I'm going to hopefully put him down for a nap now and read this other TJ, and we're gonna have a lot of fun reading TJs with the TJ. I am unable to read about things happening on planes without crying. Just like the previous book, this one jumps right into it. The ditching is happening straight away. The things that they are doing, obviously they're following the procedures. It's accurate, and I kind of want to comment it on the perspective of a flight attendant because, you know, for me that's the most interesting part about these books, but this is not what this vlog is about, so I'm going to refrain and I'm just gonna say that it's accurate. And it's making me emotional, and I'm on page 12. I was gonna straighten my hair today, and then I remembered that I'm a mom and I don't have time for those things. I finished reading the first TJ book of this vlog, and you know what, just between the two of us, I do not remember if I started this vlog. So I read this book, The Drowning by TJ Newman. You know what, it's a random Tuesday, and during the work days I always have TJ for the whole day with me because obviously Josh is working. But Josh has offered to take him for half an hour now, and I'm appalled with so much freedom. I don't know what to do. Should I take a nap? Should I clean the entire house? Should I record this update? Should I edit 3 videos? There's too much possibilities. The whole time I was reading, I wanted to come here and comment on the aircraft slash aviation related things, and I had to keep reminding me that that was not the goal of this vlog, even though what is the goal? Like, what are we trying to conclude? We already know who the best DJ is, and he hasn't written the book yet. This book, however, it's not that aviation focused, to be honest. Like, there's a bit in the beginning when they ditch, it had vibes of Sully, Miracle on the Hudson, when he goes like, we'll be in the Hudson. The way the captain was talking to the ATC tower was reminding me so much of that movie. In the beginning, we have a ditch. This airplane, this commercial airplane that was flying, I think it was from LA to Hawaii. A lot going on. It jumps straight into the action. Like, there's no circling around anything. Like, you start reading and bam, the engines go bust within like page 2 of the book. There's a little bit of backstory that is told a bit later about the characters that were following, and honestly, I really enjoyed the book. It wasn't as aircraft heavy as it could have been, which for me it's perfectly fine. I had my fun reading my thing, but also the rest was very intense, and for some reason, this is not related to that at all, but it was also giving me vibes of Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which is a book that I love, and it's set in a spaceship. Probably because at some point they get stuck inside the aircraft. This could be a little bit of spoiler, I don't know what it says on the synopsis to be honest, but they get stuck inside the plane when it drowns, and so they are at the bottom of the ocean inside the plane, and everything is going down. Well, not exactly, because they're already as further down as they can go, but everything is happening and everything is going wrong, which I love. I hate when books have an issue but then the issue gets resolved straight away, and on this one they had an issue and then a solution, but then the solution fails, and then another solution, and then it fails, and then another solution, and then it fails, and I was like, oh my god, I'm leaving for this drama. I'm so happy I'm not stuck there, but I'm loving it. So all this to say, I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it a 4 stars, solid 4 stars. The only reason why it's not a 5 star is because, I don't know, I don't think it was a life-changing book like one of my all-time favorite books, but I really enjoyed it, and definitely recommend if you want a high-stakes thriller. Everything is happening. It's also a little bit scary. I'm 140 pages into Under the Whispering Door and I am so surprised that I'm actually really enjoying this book. I'm having so much fun, and I just read a review from Google Books, from all places, because I was looking online to see if I could buy my own copy because I'm enjoying it, and this is a library copy. A man called Uwe meets the good place in Under the Whispering Door, and it was so funny reading that because that was exactly my thoughts. Earlier I was cooking dinner listening to this audiobook, and I was literally thinking to myself, this really has the vibes of a grumpy man, like A Man Called Uwe. I didn't read that book, but I watched the movie, and I even had the picture of Tom Hanks as that character crossing my mind. And The Good Place is a TV series about as well, like the in-between, and the people either go to the good place or to the bad place. And I just had that vibe as I was cooking it. It gave me chills. You know, when you think something, you don't say it out loud, you just thought it to yourself, and then the universe delivers that to you. It's a bit creepy, but I am really enjoying it. We are following a man called Wallace, who is a very arrogant man. He's literally a son of a bitch. He was so mean to his employees. He was just focused on work. Work was all he cared about in his life. He didn't care about anyone's feelings. Not only that he didn't care, but he didn't even realize that people could have feelings or that that kind of thing is important. He has a really weird perspective in life, to be honest. And then he perishes and he goes to this place. He's basically stuck in there, even though he's not stuck. He's free to cross the door, like they keep saying. There's a door upstairs and he's free to cross it whenever he wants. But he's in this place with all these other characters, and they are there to answer his questions and to basically help him make peace to the situation. And whenever he's ready, he will then want to cross the door. So the goal is that he wants to. No one is pushing him. He can stay in this between place for as long as he wants. I'm a bit scared that towards the end, he's gonna cross the door, so he's going to actually die. And I'm a bit scared of the emotional damage that there is to come, but he's so funny, and the other characters in there, like the big boss man and his granddad, they are so funny, and even Wallace himself, the things they say, every now and then I do have a little giggle. So at the moment it's a very strong 4 stars. It could potentially become a 5 stars depending on what's happening. I'm just about to reach halfway through. I'm having a really good time. I am going to sit here and continue reading this, and I'll let you know how everything is going later on. Oh, I wanted to mention, why was I surprised that I'm loving this? Because TJ Klune is also the author of The House in the Cerulean Sea, which everyone was absolutely obsessed with in 2022. I think the hype around this book was incredible, and I bought it, and it's this gorgeous soft edition floppy paperback, which is literally my favorite kind of edition, even though this has the weird short front cover, which I don't love. When I really love a book's edition, I want to love the book itself as well. It's just a random fact about my personality. I couldn't care less about this story. The characters were just not it for me, and I was very bored. And I don't know if it's because this story is following children and I'm not the biggest children's fan, or it might be that I was just not in the mood for this book. But I really didn't like it. I didn't understand the hype at all, because you know how some books you don't like them but you can understand the hype. I couldn't. So I was very afraid of going into this one for this vlog, but I'm glad that I did, because this is being super surprisingly, and I'm enjoying this 1,000 times more than the other one. I finished the second book. I still have the bookmark here because I finished with the audiobook. I think I read half of the book today. What a disappointment! Do you know how I said it was a very strong, solid 4 stars and it could even potentially be a 5 if you got emotional in the correct way? No. It dragged and it dragged and it dragged. And once I thought it was done dragging, it just kept dragging. And it dragged all the way until it became a 3 stars. And I was even thinking just now, before recording this clip, if it's not a 2 star instead. But no, because I was enjoying the first 3/4 or something. It dragged so much. There was no necessity for the story to be this long, and I hated the end. The end was the most predictable thing that I had thought about it, and then I dismissed my own thoughts, thinking, no, it's not going to be that predictable, because that's not the kind of story that we're having here. It was. There was no emotion, nothing made me cry, no one gave me the shivers, nothing. It just, I feel like it could have, by the end there was a couple of scenes that it could have done something to me, but by the time we reached them, it had been so long, the story had dragged so much that my emotions were all checked out. For now, I'm gonna be done with this author, because a DNF and a 3 stars, I don't know, I thought my way with him was turning around and perhaps I was gonna read into the other book. I don't think I will. I don't think I have it in me. I don't think him and me, I don't think we can be buddies. And that is it for me and TJ Klune. Another update coming at you from my phone while I'm holding a sleeping baby. Yesterday I started listening to the audiobook of the 3rd TJ book, which is called Chef's Kiss. It's by an author called TJ. I could have just checked the last name, but I didn't. Anyway, I do not have this book because, like I said, I don't have any more TJ authors on my shelves, so I'm listening to this one purely on audio. I listened to about an hour, I think, so far. I listened to it last night while I was tidying up the kitchen and putting him to bed and all the things. Something that I've been really enjoying, just having my headphones in while I'm putting him to bed, because if you have any young babies, you know that the bedtime can be a struggle and sometimes it takes forever. So having my headphones in definitely helps me feel less overwhelmed with what's happening and how annoying sometimes it's putting him to bed. And we are following this girl who writes recipes for a magazine, but the editor, boss, director, something, the boss person of the magazine has decided that they now need to move on to video, and they're going to start doing YouTube videos because no one has time to read a magazine looking for a recipe anymore, which I feel it's very accurate with nowadays society. So this book is very up to date, which I love in a book. I love reading about current technologies and not this parallel future where technology doesn't have a huge impact in our lives, because currently it obviously does. So the magazine hires this new video editor. At the same time, there's also a new kitchen manager. I think that's what the position is, because the previous one retired, so now there's this new person. And unlike the video director, who's a bit of a jerk, this new kitchen manager is so sweet. And her, I hope I'm saying the pronouns right, because on the synopsis they mentioned that there's someone who's non-binary, but on the audiobook, I think they always use the pronouns she and her. So I don't know if that non-binary thing is still going to be revealed further on the book, or if the audiobook is wrong, or if the synopsis is wrong, because I don't have a physical copy to compare. But the main character is a woman, and she identifies as a woman, and she's bisexual, and she is having a little fling with the kitchen manager, who, according to the audiobook, is also a woman. But like, it's very discreet. I don't even want to say slow burn, because I think it's even slower than a slow burn. So far, I'm finding the story a little bit flat. It's not doing anything wrong. It's entertaining, but it's not pulling at my heartstrings or anything. So I'm gonna keep listening, and I'll give you another update soon. I'm about 50% of the book Chef's Kiss, and we just hit the point where we are finally revealed that the kitchen manager is non-binary. One of my biggest pet peeves with books about inclusivity, things related to sexuality or characters of color or disabilities in general, whatever it is, one of my biggest pet peeves, one of the things that really annoys me is when we get introduced something like that about a character and then the whole story becomes about it. Because when it's just, I don't want to say like a normal character, but when it's someone who falls more on the norm, the story is never about it. It's about what happens to that character outside their sexuality and outside their lack of disability or whatever it is. But when it's about inclusivity, the whole story becomes about it, and that really annoys me. I don't know, I really want to read a book that has characters that belong to different groups and the groups are representative, but without making the whole story about it. Just have a normal story, or just continue with the narrative. Like until now we had an actual story, an actual narrative, something was happening, and now out of the sudden it's introduced that this character is non-binary, and now it's all they talk about how the restaurant, the company they work for, is not respecting that, and is not being inclusive, and is being discriminatory. And obviously, yes, those conversations are still important to have. I just don't think they belong in this kind of stories, or that the previous narrative should be interrupted to talk about that, because that shouldn't be the main focus of the story, in my opinion. And these things are always very difficult to talk about in videos, because it's very easy to fall under the offensive side. And obviously I'm not trying to be offensive or not respecting other people's groups or things that I don't identify with. That's not my case. I just think that in this case the story is not about it. But I've only read like 2 or 3 more chapters since that reveal has happened, so I might be wrong. They might go back to the original plot, and I hope they do. And if they do, or if they don't, I'll let you know. I ended up not coming here and letting you know that I finished Chef's Kiss, the 3rd book for this vlog. It's been a week maybe, and honestly I thought I recorded a clip about it, but I just checked the clips on the camera and the ones I had already on the computer, and apparently I didn't. I gave you an update, but not the finished result. So, regards to what I said on my last update about the book being focused on the fact that the kitchen manager was non-binary. Why do I say binary? It's binary, right? Binary or binary? Non-binary. Non-binary. Josh, what's the correct way of saying? Is it binary or binary?
Binary. One.
Okay, just wondering. In regards to the kitchen manager being non-binary, I was saying that he was focusing on that, but then kind of didn't. So the main plot of the story didn't become that, but that did have a huge implication on what was happening around. But it wasn't the main plot. They weren't talking too much. The book wasn't trying to educate, but at the same time it was trying to educate you a little bit. Either way, this book ended up being a 3-star for me. The characters were nothing special for me. A typical 3 stars. Nothing was remarkable about it. It's been a week and I barely remember anything, which is literally the definition of a 3 stars for me, where nothing is wrong, but it's non-remarkable and I won't remember it after a while. So yeah, that was the last book that I read for this vlog. And together with these other 2, TJ Klune and TJ Newman, this was a 3 stars as well. And this was a 4 stars. From these 3 TJs, Newman is my favorite one, and honestly probably from these 3 the only one that I'm gonna try again. I would read whatever TJ Newman publishes because the books are set on planes and I like the writing style and I like how intense they are. But between all the TJs in general, we know we have a clear winner, and he's in bed currently. I don't know what the point of this vlog was, because there's no conclusion to be taken and there is nothing I can say to wrap this up nicely in a bow to finish the video. So I'm just gonna say thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these 3 books or if you are now interested, and I'll see you very soon here on the channel for another video. Bye!